Don't worry, kids. Oh. All right, 1 second. Alright, so I wanted to start on time, but I still need to do a teeny weeny bit of setup. So I appreciate your patience. Won't take long. Literally just putting the sign in order. Okay. Alright, that'll do. Alright, so let's get started. That's a bit too loud. Alright, so we are just going to be doing some leg stretching. Mobility leg stretching specifically. So, if you have access to either a large floor surface, a nice flat floor surface, or a mattress. Single mattress is all you need. That's all I'm using here. I deliberately use this mattress as a way to show that anyone can kind of have a half decent mobility routine. Even if you live in a small house, if you're a student and you're in like digs, there's still ways to kind of get around the situation that are, not just stretching out in the park, because if it's pissing rain, you're hardly going to want to do that. Not like I want to do stretching in general, but there's a big difference between how hard it is to tolerate the pissing rain in grass versus the warmness of your bed. So, something that I always focus on when I am stretching is I'm always breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. Please look up nasal breathing if you're like, oh, I thought it was in through the mouth, into the nose, out through the mouth. Never mind that. If you're ever in a yoga class or any kind of fitness class, if you can, fitness class might be a lot harder, but if you're ever in a yoga class and they're like in through the nose, out through the mouth, don't listen to them. Into the nose, out through the nose. There's absolutely zero reason why you should be breathing through your mouth as opposed to the nose. If you like the if you like the Andrew Huberman podcast, there's a few episodes that they talked about the benefits of nasal breathing on that show. So, I usually use the breathing as my own timer. Deep breath in. Pause, and then out through the nose as well. And the reason why I use that as a timer is because a stopwatch is fine, but if you're more conscious of your breathing, you focus on it more, and you're more aware of the deep breath in, deep breath out, rather than just looking at a clock and wait until 60 seconds comes around. Now, I'm not setting a good example because I will be looking at my own watch during this, but that's because speaking with you guys and keeping an eye on my own breath at the same time is tricky, and I'm not able to do that properly. So now, switching sides, exact same sort of position. We're doing a lunge. So, just like your knees, one shin on the ground, one shin straight up, and they're both kind of in like that sort of a position. Wait, no. Like that. A big thing, a very important thing that we're doing in this position is we're driving from our hips forward. Hips come forward as opposed to the chest leaning forward, which is a good stretch, but not for where we're aiming for. Big deep breath in through the nose, and then out the nose. Okay, next. Front knee comes forward and out to the side. Okay? This creates the space for the body to come straight down. And so this is the difference that I was saying earlier, where first we're driving from our hips forward, trying to get our hips forward. Now we're bringing the chest down and trying to get the chest close to the ground. This is a really good one to get into the very top of your hamstring. Something that often when you have tight hamstrings and you try to stretch them out, it doesn't quite feel right. This is usually the stretch that you need to be doing. This one's called lizard pose. Come back up. We're just going to do the same thing on the reverse side. So we start off in our lunge position where we were driving our right hip forward. Now we're opening up to the side, creating space for us to come down. Elbows, trying to aim the elbows to the ground is a good marker. If you're not able to do that, it's fine. If you can, good. Well, don't beat yourself up if you can't. So another 20 seconds and then we'll change the positions up. Okay, switching legs. And now, from this position, the knee that's at the rear is going to align with the ankle that's at the front. Okay, now I'm just going to get a block. I just use an old shelf. Well, it's actually a brand new shelf, thinking about seeing how it's still got plastic on it, but I have no use for it. I'm not going to be drilling holes into the walls. This is in my house. have enough shelves in the house, but it's very useful for what I'm doing here. So, push it down to the side so that the front shin is straight or perpendicular with the rear shin. Big deep breaths into the nose and out to the nose. Okay, back up we come. And then we're going to do the exact same exercise but on the far side. Now my right hip flexor is significantly less flexible than my right. So for this I will not need the bolster, as technically what it's called, but that's just a shot. So we're going to repeat the process. Ankle in line with the rear knee. Then we teeter out to the side and lean down. And where the area that you're aiming for is just kind of past the halfway marker of your shin. And this is not quite pigeon pose, but it's very similar to it if you're familiar with yoga and that sort of stretching yourself. Okay, another 10 seconds to go. And make sure that you're still focusing with the same pattern with the breath that I was speaking about earlier on. Big breaths in through the nose and out through the nose. Okay. Just gonna jump off. 1 second. This won't take long. Hands are just getting a bit clammy. Okay, so now I'm gonna get the wooden panels back. Where's the other one? And I'm going to be doing something slightly different. And I do like this song, but it's not very good for this situation. That's more like it. I'll try to remember to put on a decent playlist for when I'm teaching these classes, because that's my old iTunes music that I had when I was a teenager, and so there's loads of nostalgic kind of goldies that I can't get on Spotify, so it's lovely to go back to them, but loads of them aren't particularly appropriate for a stretching class, mobility class, whatever you want to think of it as. Too many men get put off by the word yoga because they think that it's somehow like not masculine enough, which is just really dumb, because if you want to be really good at any kind of a physical form of exercise, mobility is so important, and yoga is just the boss. It's just the Mac Daddy of getting better and all that sort of stuff. You got all these alpha males who go down to the gym because they think that they're gonna, like, you know, oh yeah, I'm gonna pick up the girls down there. And it's like, alright, well, if that's actually your goal, you'd do better if you went to a yoga class and just sort of stop being such a wanker. You could actually talk to some other females rather than, you know, just other men lifting weights. Alright. Switching the foot out. Now, I don't start the counting. If you have a stopwatch and you're kind of looking at that because it's, you know, you don't want to do the nasal breathing counting thing, that's fine. One thing that I would use as a rule to be very strict with: do not start timing yourself until you are in the position and are stretching, because changing the position can often take up to, you know, 30 seconds to get in, and sometimes you can't really find the stretch, so you gotta shimmy around a bit. So it's just good to keep yourself strict. It also means you're not rushing to get into a position. You're taking your time, you're getting settled down, you're getting into things correctly. Now, I forgot to actually explain what these the purpose of these blocks are. So as you can see, I can balance myself in this position, but if I'm doing that, my legs are now active. They're more active than they have to be. And what I mean by that is they're now focusing on balance. Whereas when I have these blocks that I'm pushing down on the earth, my hands are now taking a lot of the balance away from the situation. 4 points of contact. And because of that, it means that my legs can relax, my muscles can relax, and they can sink into the stretch more. Deep breaths in through the nose, and then out through the nose. That one's really sore at the moment. Don't know why. Okay. Oh. Jesus, I'm so tight. Okay. Next, we are going to do some more work on the top part of the quads and the feet at the same time. So, first things we're going to do, just go off to the side here so you can see this a bit more clearly. We are going to sit on our ankles. So, up nice and tall, and then back we go. And then if you can get into this position is actually quite hard. I used to do this for jiu-jitsu. You bend down after the class is over, you sit like this. And I could sit It's like you want to talk to. I feel like I want to talk to my feet when it happens. Where it's like, lads, I'm trying to fucking stretch it out so you don't cramp. Can you stop cramping while I'm trying to do this? Alright, so let's try that again. So we're sinking back and really stretching out the ankles quite a lot. So as you can see, breathing in through the nose and then out through the nose. Alright, I'm just going to go to the side so I'm showing you guys what I'm doing here. Okay, and now what we're going to do is something very similar to child's pose, but what we're going to be focusing on is the distance between the knees and the ankles, okay? And we're going to change the position on that. So, as you can see here, I don't know if you can actually see, but you can probably see me gesturing and that might be enough. My knees are wider than my ankles, and so pushing my bum back down is not that hard. So, up here, easy, back and forth. But if we change that, if we make it so that the ankles are now wider than the knees, going back becomes a lot harder, and this is a really good stretch for your for the kind of outer part of your hips. So this is basically if you sit down too much, which you know we all do, even if it's your job to, you know, be fit and you work in a gym, you're still going to be sitting down. You're going to be sitting down on your commute to work. You're going to be sitting down when you come home and you're, you know, having dinner. You're going to be sitting down when you're watching the telly. You're going to be sitting down, you know, when you're just chilling out and you're just on your phone. But what happens when we sit down so much, probably when you hear all this talk about, like, you know, standing desks, it leads to your hip flexors becoming extremely tight and not flexible at all, and it can cause lots of injuries because that sort of one part of your body is just out of whack. It's not working the way it should do. So right now I'm getting deeper into the stretch, but that's because I put my ankles a little bit closer together, just to change where the sort of the feeling of the stretch is. So you really feel this one in the kind of the sides of the hips, and then once you've done that, roll it out a bit, move forward. All right. Now, earlier on, if you were on my Instagram and you're in the kind of the updated chat box in the Instagram page, which is really good. I hope TikTok gets one soon enough. I was saying if you were participating in the class, you'd need a belt or a rope. So I use my jiu-jitsu belt here, and what you're going to do is that loop goes around the foot. It does not go around your, if you can imagine your wrist, think of the similarities of your shin and your foot, and kind of that's your ankle. Imagine that as your ankle a bit. And what we want to do is the back of the hand, back of the foot, that's where we want the belt to go. We don't want it to go around the ankle, so we need the feet to be involved here. What we're going to do is pull it around the opposite side of the body. So you can move around and you can wiggle your foot and it's not going to knock the belt out. Your hand on the same side as the leg that's being worked here goes to the ground. This gives you 3 points of contact. You slide your other foot around to the front. Now from here, you go back onto the same shoulder as the leg that's being pulled. This arm comes underneath your knee, grab the belt, and you move forward into the stretch. Okay, and then we're going to ease off on the belt with the hands, so it comes out. You don't want to have it slapped to the ground. Alright, same thing as we did before. Create the loop. Probably easier to see on my face there rather than the back of the white wall. The loop goes around the top part of the foot just underneath the toes. You do not want to have it on your ankle. Then you go all the way to the end of the belt. First time you're doing this, wrap around the opposite shoulder. Then your left hand comes down to the ground for a third point of contact. Your foot comes forward, that's not attached. And then here what you do, now that you have a bit more of a stable balance, goes over the same shoulder as the same foot. Your other arm comes underneath your knee and grabs the belt, and now you can get into a good stretch from here. Deep breaths into the nose, out to the nose. it off. Slide out and stretch. And now to finish off, just gonna switch to a more mellow tune. Alright, so last thing we're going to do is something called a 90-90. I'm just getting the sign out the way so you can see nice and clear. So, I think I got like a bug bite or something on my ankle there. This is not a good position. Right. So what we're doing here, basically it looks like I'm giving birth, so I'm going to go to the side a little bit. And what we're going to be doing, get the fuck out of there, is, oh fuck. Knee comes down, knee comes back up, other knee comes down, and knee comes back up, and you just rinse and repeat. So knee down, knee back up, knee down, knee back up. Now, if you want to make it harder, basically make your legs go further out. Like kind of widen the base a little bit. Ah. 30 more seconds, 3-0. Right, and now one for everybody. This is one that I always do before I sort of get out of the bed in the morning, and that's often just when my back is a bit tight. So it is lie flat, knee comes up, knee goes over to the side, and then you're trying to get your shoulder to the ground. You can do the opposite where you're, that's actually quite a helpful. She's putting pressure down at my shoulder, which is nice. Bit of grounding. Now you can do this move the opposite way, where you start with your shoulder on the ground and then you move your knee over, which stretches out your lower back quite a lot. Okay, and then same thing on the first side. And right now my dog is actually being like a perfect physio, putting pressure on my left shoulder while my left knee is going on to my right hand side, and that's just a really nice stretch for the back. Alright, so we're going to switch to the first side once more. So, one leg stretch, over to the far side, and what we want here is the pressure going down on our right shoulder. And no, I did not train my dog to do this, she just kind of does it sometimes. But if I could have taught her to do this, I definitely would have, because it's quite helpful after like a chest exercise, because she just kind of stands on my pec, and it's like a trigger point therapy. Look that up if you don't know what it is. I'm in no fit state to explain it properly. Alright, we're gonna go one more time, fourth time. stretching it out. Get your pet dog to stand on your opposite shoulder as it places it down to the ground. And just make sure that you're constantly petting under her neck, preventing her from licking you in any way, because she's a dirty shite eater. No matter how many doggy landmines are cleaned up in the back garden, she always finds one of them. Yum, 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 yum. Anyway, that is the end of the live stream. I am going to be playing, I think, Helldivers 2. I haven't rechecked it. I'd imagine it's Helldivers 2 is what's going to be played later on at 8:30, which is an hour away, I believe. Yeah, an hour away. 8:30. We're going to be moving over to Helldivers 2 on Twitch. And yeah, if anybody wants to join in and actually play the game with me, join in the same party, then go over onto the link in my Discord and my Instagram. There's a video or there's a story that I just posted about how to do that. Or you could just look up The King of Chemo on Discord, and I'm sure you'll find me there. And yeah, the only thing I care about is that you have a mic and you want to play to win. That's the only thing I give a shit about. If you're not very good at the game, if you're new to the game, I don't mind. But yeah, as long as you're just not, as long as you're not mute, because then it's like defeats the purpose. And I suppose speaking English, that's kind of important as well. But I guess if you don't speak English, you wouldn't understand what I just said. So yeah, I am gonna go. Love you and leave you. I'll see some of you again. Huzzah! The end has come. I'm gonna see you again in 1 hour.